Now it was Honorable Lizazi on the floor.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. I would like to pose an urgent oral question to the Minister of Health and Social Services, Honorable Dr. Luvinda. The prevalence rate of malaria in Zambezi region and the death toll is rising every day. And we also saw in Omsati, the death toll is also rising. It's not only in Zambezi now, it's the whole country. So, for example, we have areas, Ritene area, DAP has to intervene to go and do a screening for the member of the community of that area. And in one go, they were able to find 54 positive cases on malaria. And 50 of them were treated immediately by DAP, and then 4 of them were referred to the hospital. And as we speak now, the hospital of Katima Murilo is full. Some of the patients are on the floor. What interventions is the ministry putting in place to curb this situation? And what are you doing to sensitize the members of the public to know about the issues of symptoms, awareness campaigns, or even bed nets and anything? What is the ministry doing to urgently curb this situation? I thank you.
Yes, Honorable Minister of Health.
Good, thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Thank you, Honorable Member, for the question. As the Honorable Member was asking the question, I was nodding. It is a valid question. We just recently celebrated World Malaria Day, where myself, as well as a lot of key stakeholders, were present in Ruacana. And so we were there on the ground. We returned only thereafter. One of the key points that we mentioned, we fully agree. The situation has reached a level it is not supposed to, that we agree on. One of the key things that we have also identified is the issue of prevention versus treatment and a reactive approach. And so one of the key statements we then made, or myself made in the region last week, was the statement to say the issue of indoor residual spraying is one of our strongest preventative response systems. And we do take note of the fact that over the past few months, that has not been as strong as it should be. Also with the aspect of reactive indoor residual spraying as opposed to preventative indoor residual spraying. And on that particular day, I did mention that despite the fact that we are having resistance from the communities to do the indoor residual spraying, I did mention on record that that is not enough. So it's not enough for the ministry to say that community members don't want us to spray. We need to find proactive ways, because nobody will refuse spraying if they have the full information. So we took the decision on the ground to say that for this cycle now, as we start the indoor residual spraying, we are involving the political leadership in the regions, as well as from head office, myself, Deputy Minister, Executive Director, to go out into the communities, to assist with the indoor residual spraying, talk to the communities. Also, the Honourable Member asked about how we are doing more education. I agree with the Honourable Member, there's a low level of education with regards to the symptoms to watch out for. What we are doing now as a ministry is translating the health information into native languages. And then we are involving traditional authorities so that they can get involved, because they are the authoritative figures within those communities. So they might not listen to Luvendao, but they might listen to a traditional authority figure within their communities. So these are two of the methods that we are currently using. In conclusion, Honourable Speaker, Honourable Member, on the 8th of April, due to the seriousness of this, as well as the numbers and statistics, as the Honourable Member has said, I convened a high-level stakeholder meeting where myself, together with country leadership, as well as experts such as former Minister of Health, Dr. Richard Kamui, as well as Africa CDC, WHO, and local experts were present. We have now crafted a new strategy and a new direction, and this is what we're basing and forging forward on. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, Honorable Kanderoglu is the last one.
Thank you, Speaker. My oral agent goes to the Right Honourable Prime Minister. What happened in Vegas, stay in Vegas. Honorable Prime Minister, there is a concern from the farmers that have applied for animal drought relief animal subsidy, who sold their cattle 2003, 2004, and up until now, they haven't received their subsidy, despite the Ministry of Agriculture have processed all the applications to the office of Prime Minister for payment. What is happening there at your office? Is everything fine? Why are the farmers not receiving their money for the past 2 years? And as you know, we are going on recess now. We are going to be confronted with these complaints and questions. Can you enlighten the public? When are they going to receive their subsidies money? I so submit.
Yes, Right Honorable Prime Minister.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. The Honorable Member is saying what stayed there stays because we were both somewhere over the weekend. Okay. That's a lighter note. Honorable Speaker, Honorable Member, thank you very much for the question. It is a valid question. A number of farmers have been paid. Because there was a shortfall in the funds that were availed. Eventually that was done. That is how I know that some were paid. And then there was an issue pertaining to whether or not some of the payments are credible payments that we are making. And through the reconciliation from the Ministry of Agriculture and ourselves, that's now through the drought relief, and the Ministry of Finance needed to make sure that everything that is being okayed for payment is truly correct. And that process has been finalized not too long ago. And I'm also aware that we are equally in the process of trying to sort out that which was outstanding because there was not much in the kitty. So Kashuru has some self-interest. Okay, fine. Yeah, we wanted, and I think I should again convey to the farmers, many of whom might have been inconvenienced in this process, an apology to them. But it was never the intention to disadvantage them in any way. But it was our commitment to make sure that the process is fair, transparent, and that those that are said they are correct to be paid are the people that must be paid. And you have got to appreciate that sometimes not everybody that would say that they are holy will be holy. And the system is what it is. So, but Honorable Member, your point is well taken, and we will do our best because the budget now is approved, so we should be able to get some funds that were allocated, and including Okachuru, we'll make sure that we sort that out. That's one. Finally, the second one is the manner in which that whole process has been managed in the past. The challenge is that it starts from the line ministry, and then the office of the Prime Minister, as it were, is like just a rubber stamp because you don't really fully appreciate how this whole process came about. Now, if you are paying, chances are you might pay your life away because you haven't really have the full appreciation how this farmer or provided the service, or whether this service was truly provided. So that was a challenge, Honorable Member. And I think, of course, fortunately, the Honorable Speaker is well versed with this matter. And that is why she has given me the indulgence to answer longer than everybody else. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Yes, thank you, Right Honorable Prime Minister. I thought we would be able to squeeze Honorable Venani in, but we are now out of time for urgent oral questions, and it's break time also. Honorable Venani, Honorable Member, can you? Okay, only 1 minute, Honorable Member. I exercise my right to give you only 1 minute.
Yes, Speaker. Yes, Honorable Speaker, I will have an urgent oral question to the Minister of Health, Dr. Luvindao. Namibia over the years have cleared itself against polio over a number of years. But we are having these recurrent polio outbreaks in the country. There is a rumor that says the children that comes from Angola roaming our streets are the ones that are not vaccinated, and they are the ones that are causing these outbreaks. Is it true? And if it is true, what are we doing to contain polio or to make those children at least to be vaccinated or to be assisted so that we don't have a recurrent problem of polio? Or what is happening? Why are we having these polio outbreaks on and off going on in our country while we have cleared it over a number of years? Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honorable Minister.
So I do want to answer the question by firstly clarifying that at the moment we don't have any cases of, and I say this carefully so that it's not misconstrued. So we have not tested anybody, like a human being, and tested them and said, okay, this person has polio. So from the time we started efforts last year in 2025, the issue there was that we detected polio. So part of the job of the ministry, which I guess sometimes we don't communicate as effectively as we should, we have an entire surveillance department, and that surveillance department is responsible for literally surveillancing, if for lack of a better term, continuously within the environment, within the system, to say, all right, we've actually detected that there is a cause for concern. Now, through routine surveillance, the first one was in Rundu, in the Ndamba Pond, and when we detected this, that was the first time that we said, okay, fine, we need to start this immunization schedule, this vaccination schedule. Now, that was because as a ministry, we're moving away from being reactive, and we really want to put effort into being more preventative. Now, with that said, what caused the second round and now the third round, part of the question that was also asked that I was not able to answer, but was the issue that after that we detected it again in Windhoek and then again in Gababis, and then neighboring countries, including in my media statement where we had a press release, we also confirmed that we do have African countries. There are 2 African countries that not only have actual cases, but children have actually now presented with paralysis. So that becomes very dangerous because we don't want to wait until children are paralyzed and then the minister starts saying, okay, but we need to rush and do another round. And so no, the vaccination rounds are not harmful. We went through a vigorous process together with the scientific committee before I even approved the third round. And this was based on the fact that because the countries that are bordering us at the moment are having active outbreaks with active cases as well as cases of paralysis, we want to protect our children as far as possible. And so that is the reason why we are proceeding with round 3. Regarding cross-border, yes, even if you leave polio out of the equation, cross-border transmission has been a very big issue, even when it comes to malaria. And I suppose then it is a balance that we continue to sort of find with the political relationships, the international relations that we have, but also making sure that we guard against having too much of an increase in our numbers of various cases and various outbreaks. So that we are trying to manage even better. We're trying to strengthen that cross-border control. Within this new financial year, we've attributed a little bit more finances so that we really can strengthen the cross-border control there so that we test at the point of entry and deal with it at that case. Thank you very much.
Very good. Thank you. The House will now rise for 20 minutes.
Speaker.
Okay, let's take our seats. Okay, now we proceed to notices of motions. Honorable Cooper.
Honorable Speaker, I move without notice in terms of Rule 124H of the Standing Rules and Orders that leave of absence due to official persons in terms of Rule 76(1) D and F be granted to Honorable Modestus Atsipara during the period of 5 to 13 June 2026. I so move, Honorable Speaker.
Yes, please table the motion, Honorable. Yes, Honorable Lucato.
Honorable Speaker, members of the Parliament, today, Tuesday, 28 April 26, I hereby give notice that on Tuesday, 6 May 26, I shall move that this August House discuss and agree to table the motion to provide GRN vehicles to all recognized sub-quotas under the traditional authorities in Namibia. I so move.
To do what, Honorable Member? Can you say that again?
Okay. Today, Tuesday, 28 April 2026, I hereby give notice that on Tuesday, 6 May 2026, I shall move that this August House discuss and agrees to table the motion to provide GRN vehicles to all recognized sub-quotas under the traditional authorities in Namibia. I so move.
Okay. Honorable Lucato, I think the small problem that we have is the day that you have cited is not a sitting day, because in terms of the rules, the House would be on recess the whole of May. So that part, Honorable Member, you need to maybe make it in June or so.
Yeah, yes, Honorable Speaker.
Okay.
I was amended.
Okay, so you can just change there and then you table the motion.
Okay, thank you so much.
Just say what the new date is that you put in there. I understand we need it on the record. So, 6 June, okay. Please table the motion.
Thank you.
Oh, that's a Saturday. Okay, let's put in a correct day. Should it? 4th of June. Yes. Okay, very good. So it will be a 4th of June. Very good. Thank you. Honorable Hangula.
Honorable Speaker, I move without motion in terms of Rule 124H of Standing Rules and Orders that leave of absence due to official business in terms of Rule 76(1)D and F be granted to Honorable Professor Job Ampanda during the period 5 to 13 June 2026. I so move, Honorable Speaker.
Yes, please table the motion. Yes, Honorable Karupu.
Honorable Speaker, I move without notice in terms of Rule 124H, read with Rule 76, Sub Rule 1A of the Standing Rules Order and Internal Arrangements, that leave of absence be granted to Honorable Mario Shea as of 28th of April 2026 until further notice. I so move, Honorable Speaker.
Yes, thank you, Honorable. You may table the motion. Yes, Honorable Aupindi.
Honorable Speaker, I move without notice in terms of Rule 124H of the Standing Rules and Order that leaves of absence due to official business in terms of Rule 76(1)D and F be granted to Honorable Hilaria Mukapuri during the period of 05 to 13 June 2026. I so move, Honorable Speaker.
Please table the motion, Honorable. Thank you. Honorable Motu.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. I hereby give notice that leave of absence be granted in terms of Rule 124, Sub Rule H, read together with Rule 76, Sub Rule A, that leave be granted to Honorable Enya Shivoro Mbura from the 28th of April. The leave is requested due to health reasons. I so submit.
Yes, thank you. Please table the motion. Yes, Honorable Ricardo.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I move without notice in terms of Rule 124H of the Standing Rules and Orders that leave of absence due to official business in terms of Rule 76(1)D and F be granted to Honorable Jonelo Mutom during the period 5 to 13 June 2026. I so move, Honorable Speaker.
Yes, thank you. Table the motion. Honorable Kalang. Oh, no, one moment. Yes. Honorable Karangula.
Thank you so much, Honorable Speaker. I move without notice in terms of Rule 124H of the Standing Rules and Order that leave of absence due to official business in terms of Rule 76(1)D and F be granted to Honorable Bertrand Ifikwa during the period of 05 to 13 June 2026. I so move, Honorable Speaker.
Okay, thank you. Honorable Member, table the motion. I thought there was already that motion was moved already, wasn't it? I thought, no, that's different. Oh, okay, you can table. Okay, I thought the motion was moved already, but it's okay. Oh, okay. Thank you. Now, I just want to request the Honorable Chief Whips, the members, that they please assist us to ensure, because I can see now over the past few days, there has been a lot of requests for leave of absence. We need to ensure that our quorum is not affected, because that's the reason why the rules require that the Chief Whips must agree. So you have to help us in that regard. Secondly, the request for leaves should take note of what the leave is requested for, because there is a difference between leave where a member is going to do official work and where a member is going on sick leave, where the member is going on vacation, because there are limits. You have a number of days to go on vacation during the year. You have yes. That's important. Now, if you just say leave until further notice, no, we don't know whether the person, honorable member, it's not me that is making a determination. There is a directive. I am right because there is a published gazette that says how many days per annum a member, a politician, is entitled to for vacation leave. So even myself, when I fill my leave form, yes, the honorable member is shaking his head, but even when I was the prime minister, when I have to fill a leave form, I have to indicate this one is the vacation, this one is a sick leave, because at one point I exhaust my vacation leave days. So I can't just say I would like to go on leave until further notice. Yeah. I think the first one was Honorable Hengari, before I come to Honorable Ampanda.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. I just, I know that we can't direct questions to the Speaker, but I'm perhaps leaving it to the members to, something perhaps to chew on. Does it mean that some of us have actually never taken leave for as long as we've been members of this House? Because I think the Speaker's explanation and what the Speaker is saying now is that what it means for the rest of us is that we have actually never taken leave days. Those of us who come from the 7th Parliament.
I beg your pardon? What is the question again? That those who come from the executive branch may not do what?
No, Speaker, I am not in a position to speak on behalf of the executive. I have never served as a minister or deputy minister, special advisor to the minister, any of those positions. But what I can speak as is as a member of this House, as somebody that has served now for 7 years. Does it mean that we are actually owed money for all those days that we didn't take leave from the previous Parliament? Because if we go by the Speaker's explanation, it means that most of us have actually never taken leave, and therefore perhaps we must apply somewhere. Perhaps the Minister of Finance is also willing to make payment for all those leave days that we never actually took. Is this, or does the Speaker actually understand the financial implication of the Speaker's explanation and take on leave days and what it means and when a member can take leave?
Yes, Honorable Member. Okay, let me, before Honorable Venani assists, let's hear the point of Honorable Ampanda.
So I think, firstly, I think Honorable Hengari misunderstood the Speaker. So the Speaker does not say there are limits to days. The Speaker did not say that at all, because that, firstly, that gazette does not mention members of Parliament. So in any stretch of, first of all, it's an unlawful gazette anyway. The only rules, we have already established that our leaves is dealt with in terms of this. We have canvassed that issue. And secondly, members of Parliament are not mentioned there. For example, Honorable Haitota, who is on maternity leave, she's not enjoying any benefit from this House. We must announce that Minister of Finance owe her. But I think the Speaker has just misunderstood. The Speaker was not referring to that gazette because it doesn't speak to us, it's not applicable. The Speaker was speaking to the rules. That let's be clear for how many days, whether it's official duty. The Speaker did not refer at all to any gazette, to any days that are finishing or outstanding. So let's not misunderstand our Speaker. She's only talking to the rules. And I agree with the Speaker that we must specify whether it's sick leave or official duties and stick only to this one. Let's not misunderstand the Speaker.
Okay, thank you, Honorable Ampanda. Let me first hear from Honorable Venani. You may assist now before I come in.
Speaker, I think I'm not the same school of thought. I don't think members of Parliament in total, backbenchers, falls into a category of ministers where they must submit leave, or fall in the same category as a Speaker or a Deputy Speaker. Because the Speaker, being the head of Parliament, he is entitled to come Monday to Friday to work. That's your role. I, as a member of Parliament, whether I want to do my research at night or I want to come on Tuesday to work, there is no leave. I've stayed here for so many years. There was no day that I submitted any leave day for whatever reason, because members of parliament backbenchers do not fall under a strict regime of reporting to duty and going. And that's the reason why I believe that the regime of asking for leave is meant for those that are supposed to be in offices Monday to Friday.
Yes, honorable members, I think that maybe the most appropriate way for us to deal with this matter is to request that the Right Honorable Prime Minister would, at a time that is mutually agreed, arrange for the MPs, maybe when we have one of our workshops one time, we'll arrange for the MPs to receive an explanation on what is provided for under, the statutes, whether it is the POBC or any of the other legal document that has been put in place. But as a presiding officer of the Assembly, I can only refer to what is in the rules. And what is in the rules is in 76, rule number 76. Yeah, we start the leave of absence, and I will limit myself from the sittings of the Assembly. And that will cover the committees, because when you go to the committees, there would also be a rule that talks about absence from committee meetings. But for today, I would limit myself to the sittings of the Assembly, because the days that are cited in the motions of today cover sitting days of the Assembly. Now, that Rule 76 says, the Assembly, or let me start from actually Rule 74. 74 says, every member being a democratic representative of the people who elected them to the Assembly is duty bound to attend the sittings of the House and its committees of which he or she is a member, unless he or she obtain leave of absence from the Assembly in terms of Standing Rule 76. Yeah. Then it says, too, with the changes necessitated by the context, Sub-Rule 1, which I just read, applies to every member appointed by the President in addition to those that are elected under Article 32, 5C of the Constitution. And then 3 says, a member who fails to attend as contemplated by Sub-Rule 1 may be charged with contempt of the House in terms of these standing rules. Then we go to rule number 76. Now 76 says, Sub 1, the Assembly may grant a member leave of absence if A, that member's illness renders the member unable to comply with his or her duties and functions. And that's where you usually have until further notice, because you don't really know when the person would feel better. But if it's something else, usually they give the period. Then they say B, the member's close family member contracted a serious illness or died. C, the member must attend to urgent matters, which I was supposed to do today. But unfortunately, I could not do that because there is no one to take my place. Then D, the member must attend to parliamentary activities. The member must attend to parliamentary activities and functions or must go on public or official business. Or E, the member is excused by the Assembly for any other reasonable cause. And F, the member's chief whip or party whip agrees. Then they say, if a member has leave of absence, he or she is, but now I have drawn your attention to the rule. It's a long rule. I don't have to read all of it. So, yes, there are issues, but I noted the questions that you asked, and they are very interesting, but they go now beyond the scope of the mandate of the Speaker, because they are now talking about the labor law and the other documents. That's why I think that it's necessary that the Prime Minister, as leader of government business in the House, would facilitate for us to have a common understanding on that issue. Yeah? So agreed. I think we have covered now for today the motions. So we proceed to ministerial statement. Any ministerial statement? Reports from the Committee of the Whole Assembly and consequential proceedings. Okay, then orders of the day. Now, the Secretary will read the first order of the day.
Resumption of committee stage, mental health bill.
Does the Honorable Minister of Health and Social Services move that the Assembly now goes into committee? It is moved that I leave the chair. Any objection? Who seconds? Agreed to. No, there is no object. They are seconding that I leave the chair. I now, Honorable Kambala, is that an objection? No, but we passed this, the time of objection. No. No, no objection came to the attention of the Speaker until I asked for secondment. Yeah. He objected to what? That we go to committee. No. Okay, then you were late to raise your objection, Honorable Member, because I got a secondment and now I have to say agree to. I now call on the chairperson of the whole House Committee to take the chair. You don't want to go to committee? Okay. Speaker, you are now on committee, so wait for the president.
The whole House Committee is called to order. The whole House Committee has to consider the Mental Health Bill, B1 of 2026. When progress was reported on Wednesday, 12 November 2025, arrangements of sections were put and agreed to without amendments. Clauses 1 to 11 were put and agreed to without amendments. Clause 12 as amended by the Minister was put and agreed to. And clauses 13 to 19 were put and agreed to without amendments. I now put clause 20. Any discussion? Yes, Honorable Mpanda.
Honorable Chairperson, when we dealt with this matter, that's why I was hoping that yes, they have been meeting, there have been engagement, and those engagements, to my understanding, have reached a very important undertaking. When we got feedback, we asked our Chief Whip, as in how is this thing? We asked whether I specifically asked our Chief Whip whether they have made arrangement, starting with the Deputy Speaker who was sitting in those meetings, the Chief Whip of the ruling party, who happens, all of them happen not to be here. So we are sure, we just want to see whether we are on the same page as far as that consensus is concerned. And I think actually that consensus is very progressive in terms of how we were to move forward. There was some sort of summary even. So I don't know whether they have briefed you on that, or somebody is going to raise, so that we just know how to proceed. Because it seems, in terms of that consensus, we are proceeding in a completely different fashion compared to what we have thought, because there are some of us who have come with yellow papers. So when you call clause 20, do I stand up with my yellow paper? My understanding of what has been reached is a completely different answer, which is progressive, by the way. I just don't know. Maybe that's the first thing that we need to be able to do. I'm only speaking about what the report that we got from that meeting. Others, maybe you could, through your indulgence.
No, but there are two things. There are two things. They want to start on the agreement from the beginning or move forward. Now, honorable members, as we all are aware, Honorable Ampanda is right. There was a meeting with the chief whips of the various political parties, and they were looking at how we could move forward regarding this bill. Now, previously, or when we started, because it was me who started with clause 1, they wanted to, they wanted they wanted the definition to be included. That is what kept us for the whole day. They wanted the definition to be included in the bill. And then we did not agree on that. But we had the majority that said that we must move forward. Now, the new dimension now is that the honorable members wants to know, and we are divided on that. They want us to restart whilst we have already moved to clause 20. They want to restart from clause 1 based on the new clause by clause. And can I go through what they have agreed, honorable members? Yes. Honorable Vaiko Nekundi.
Yeah, thank you very much. Deputy Chair, I just want to have a clarity when you are referring to they. I just want to understand what are the they?
Okay. Now, let me assist, Honorable. When the chief whips had their meeting, they agreed, the chief whips agreed. But there was one outstanding issue, that whether we should start from clause 1 or whether we must start continuing with clause 20 based on the submissions that could be made upon the conclusion of the proceedings, the consolidated clauses. Now let me read the whole minutes of that meeting. A meeting has been convened in the Constitution Room, and the chief whips, as per Rule 185 of the Standing Rules. Now, following the deliberations, following the procedure, because we remember that on Thursday we could not agree on anything last week, proposals came that any member intending to propose an amendment may do so. Each agreed upon amendment will be sent verbatim. It's now through this verbatim sent verbatim to the office of the legal drafters and the Attorney General via the mover of the bill and the Minister of Justice. So that's the Minister. Only through her we can send it. Not each person standing up and bring an amendment. Yeah, that's what was agreed. Now the debate and the voting. Honorable members, let's move to debate and the voting, how we should debate and how it will be voted. Where multiple proposals exist for a single provision, the various proposals of amendments will be debated, a period not exceeding 1 hour. That's the agreement of the chief whips. I don't know what your chief whip shared with you. Only the approved upon amendments will be officially captured, and clause by clause will be reviewed. The House will proceed through the bill clause by clause, explicitly identifying which clauses are subject to amendments and which remain unchanged. Now we are moving to the finalization and reporting. The submission, how it will be done. Upon the conclusion of the proceedings, the consolidated clauses and the verbatim Hansard record of the approved amendments will be submitted to the Chief Legal Drafter and the Attorney General through the Minister of Justice. Now, how will it be consolidated? The mover of the bill will subsequently present the amended clauses as a single consolidated document. How do we move towards third reading of the bill? Once the bill has been formally reported on, it will proceed to its third reading. Now, there is no longer a requirement to table amendments, proposals individually, as they will be handled through this consolidated processes. Now, this information, honorable members, was with our chief whips already from last week till today. So we could have agreed on something already, except for the disagreement whether we will start at clause 1 or move from clause 20 upwards, honorable members. But mine is, I've never seen that clauses that have already been agreed to will be, how do we do that process to return it? We can't. So we move forward. Yes, you can never undo a process. Yes, Honorable.
Microphone. Okay, Honorable Deputy Chairperson of the Whole House Committee, being a Deputy Chief Whip yourself, you were not present at that meeting, right? The expectation, and I've tried to communicate with the Deputy Speaker, the Chairperson of that forum, to brief you properly, because I anticipated something like this is going to happen. And here we are sitting. First of all, when we said we wanted to find the way forward, as you correctly said, and we agreed on certain things, but I'm afraid those things have not been put to you the proper way so that you can brief the rest of the House. Now, number one, what has really happened is this: to say we need to find a way to move forward. How are we going to move forward with the amendments? That is to say, when member X and member Y have both conflicting amendments that need to go to a certain clause, clause 18 for instance, what the House will then do, the whole House Committee will then do, is put these two schools of thoughts against each other and try and find where they can meet and make sense, right? Now, if that happens, and then we say, okay, in terms of using this word and that word, can we use this one? And the whole House agrees. We then take it as that submission. Then that submission belongs to the whole House, and when it's put to the yellow paper, it is put as the submission of the whole House. That's number one. Number two, in the alternative, if it so happens that there are three conflicting proposed amendments, the House will then debate which one is more appropriate and to the letter of the bill, according to the rules. Once we find maybe two, we still can't find one, we find maybe two, then we will debate these ones, and after an hour, we will then put it to a vote. The one that wins is the one that will then be put on the yellow paper by the mover, the original mover of that proposed amendment. And then it will be consolidated into the draft bill. That's the other alternative. Now, what we could not agree upon in that Chief Whip's meeting on that particular day is whether we are going to resume that approach from the current clause that we have, which is clause 20, or we are going to go back to clause 1 so that we can then accommodate the request by Honorable Karonda, or is it Honorable Kandorodu, in order for us to insert the formal definition of mental health. All right. Then it was agreed that we will put that decision to the whole House committee so that we can deliberate it and see what are the advantages and disadvantages of starting over from clause 1 or continuing to clause 20. I think, Honorable Chief Whip of the official opposition, if there is anything that I may have left out or that you can clarify, but the submission really is that 1, decisions have been made and agreed upon. 2, what is supposed to happen today, as per the agreement of the Chief Whips, is for us to deliberate and agree on whether we are going to start from clause 1 or clause 20 moving forward. And what do we do with all those suggestions that we had made from clause 1 to clause 19? I so submit.
Thank you very much, Honorable. I want to understand whether you have used the rules when you were deliberating or what was done. Secondly, just guide me on how we will undone these clauses that we are done with. How do we do that process? Because we have moved from there. No. I will only look at Honorable Maton, Honorable Taele, Honorable Ampanda, the last one, before I give my submission.
Otherwise, take us back to the Chief Whip's forum.
No, it's a house here. We are in the whole house.
Then give it to the house
will decide. Honorable Maton and Honorable Venani, prepare yourself. You are senior of this house. Prepare yourself. Prepare yourself.
Thank you, Deputy Chairperson of the House Committee. I want to contribute to the clause 20. But before that, I just want clarity. If there's only one amendment proposed, and we discuss, then we then vote on it, and then it goes in? Or do we just continue? Because my light was on actually to contribute to the clause. So I want us to be able to move forward. Thank you.
Honorable Taele. Senior members, guide us. Honorable Venani is next. Before I conclude.
Hengari.
Honorable Nakundi also.
Hengari and Mongo.
Yes, thank you so much, Honorable Deputy Chairperson of the whole House Committee. I am quite taken aback how we really want to conduct the business of this House. As members elected to come and do due diligence in terms of our lawmaking. Now, we sit here, differ on the nitty-gritties that were supposed to be solved outside, while we clearly follow the rules of the House where there were no clarity. I thought that platform was called to bring each other on the same wavelength in terms of interpretation of these rules. Now, we went to this meeting as Chief Whips. I can clearly see there are some colleagues that were in the same meeting that do not agree with the Chief Whip of AI. Yes, I'm sitting here reading the body language. Okay. That is number one. There is no consensus. There is a clear indication that there is no consensus on the agreement.
No, wait, Honorable.
No, I'm having the floor. I'm having the floor.
I will give you your floor to explain the meeting.
Sit down.
Chief Whip, we must be exemplary as leaders. We must be exemplary as leaders. I want Honorable Taele to conclude. Thereafter, you can come in and give us a clear indication of what you have agreed on in that meeting. As for me, I am going on the rules. If your meeting is agreeing outside the existing rules, then I'm very sorry, honorable members. We are trying to find a solution for the dilemma we are in. Now we will give each one a chance to tell us what we have agreed on in that meeting. Yes, Honorable Daele, you may continue.
Thank you, Comrade Deputy Chairperson. So I thought, as per the rule, the understanding should be that we commence from where we have left last week, that the clause 20 of the mental health bill, that's where we were supposed to start today, with the amendments. From the understanding that I'm getting from the honorable members here, there was no objection to any member sitting in this house to come up with any amendment. That is pending the approval of this house as we are constituted as a whole house committee. That was given even a time frame of 1 hour, which I feel it is too much, but in the name of democracy, we accept, because it is coming from the committee of the whips, the chief whips. We give them that 1 hour, we deliberate, whichever way, whether we reach consensus or not, that will be determined by how the House will conduct itself on agreeing whether we are in agreement with that amendment or not. And we can go as democratic set up as we are here. We will agree, or on those ones that we do not agree, we will set that one aside and proceed. That is my understanding that was supposed to come from this whip's office. Now for us to now sit again and go back to the initial discussion of how we should conduct ourselves is just uncalled for, and it is time wasting. We need to agree on way forward, Comrade Deputy Chairperson, and find an amicable solution to how we should conduct ourselves and really do justice to this bill. Thank you so much.
Honorable Nekundi. I don't see anything here. You will be next. You will be next.
Honorable members, can I call upon us that we are in the whole house committee. The first base is that we all must believe that we came to make the law. The first step, we are now at clause 20. Now, if you want to upset, you need to have a provision that makes you to upset what was agreed. Okay? 2, you continue and finish. But what will save us is that after we have done, we will come back. Isn't it? That's a procedure. Clause 1, clause 2, any objection to the end. Isn't it? That will, if you have anything to raise to that, that will be exactly at the same time to raise that, yes, on this one, I have an objection. It will be given. It doesn't mean if we now go to finalize, to continue from here, if you have an objection or any issue to do with the clause 1 or clause 2, you are cut out. Because when you are done to the end, you will now need to come back to each clause. Remember that? Hammer. Is that the moment any member then have an issue, we then raise it at that moment. So whoever have now an issue with clause, any clause, that moment will exactly come. And that is the moment you will then raise and say, on this one, I have an objection, I have this thing to say. I think it's going to help us a lot in moving forward. I so submit from my understanding in that, whatever is still covered and you do not agree to it, clause 1 up to clause 20, it doesn't mean it's the end of it's finalized, because we now have to come back as a finality. And that will be a chance now for each one of us, if you have any issue to raise, that we then be able to address it at that moment. I then submit that we agree that we proceed with that understanding that whoever have an issue in any of the prior clause, that window will still be open.
Thank you very much, Honorable Nekundi. Honorable Ampanda.
Thank you, Deputy Chairperson. I think we must not make a mistake of belittling the gains that has been made through consensus. It's very important. Last time when we left here, there were members who believed that you cannot come with your yellow paper and table. It can only be done by a minister. That was one perspective. Other members believed that how can I be a law taker and not a lawmaker? So when we left, there was no consensus. When they went to their meeting, according to the briefing that we received, that meeting achieved a very important milestone, that members have the right to give proposal for amendment. That was a consensus. It was not taken away from them. Wait. Here we even say members still. So in other words, those who felt that they were going to be excluded, that consensus, they clarified the consensus, they meet each other halfway, that the ultimate amendment will be tabled by a mover once that proposal is agreed. So the solution to our stalemate was that your amendment, let it be a suggested amendment, a proposal. Once the House have agreed to it, it becomes an amendment agreed to by the House that will eventually be tabled by the mover. It's a very important consensus that has been reached that we mustn't take for granted. Because if we take that away, then people go back to their default position. So both members who were there, the unfortunate thing that we are dealing with here is that the Deputy Speaker is not here. The Chief Whip of the ruling party is also not here. It's as if these members are speaking, doing their own proposal. That's one. So we have to acknowledge, Deputy Chair, that one, there is now consensus that suggestion and proposal to amendment can be made. And it can be debated by the House. Once it's agreed, is what then eventually goes to the yellow paper tabled as consolidated amendment. That's a very important consensus that we need to be able to have reached. So it's important because once we're saying who's saying this, who's saying what, so no one has an issue. We certainly don't have an issue. We just did not want to have a situation where we are being told that we cannot, we are law takers and not lawmakers. That issue, that bridge, we have crossed it. So we must then ask ourselves, is that the consensus of the House? If it's the consensus of the House, then we've made progress. That's one. Number two, Deputy Chairperson, I don't think that this issue would necessarily, you see? Yeah, tell who?
Honorable.
I'm raising exactly. Your Chief Whip is not here.
I'm here.
Are you going to make it as our problem?
Here, Honorable.
Yes. So he must be called
No,
to
he
order,
knows
President.
what he's talking about.
President. Huh?
Natankwe.
So. Okay, so that's the point that we are also trying to make, is to say that there is consensus that has been reached. The only issue here, and it's not even a point that we're supposed to debate about. The only issue here is that the Chief Whip decided we can't agree on this, let's throw it into the House. There's nothing wrong with it. So we simply just have to take a decision that there are two proposals that are being, the Chief Whip did not agree whether we are going to start from clause 1 or clause 20. That's the issue. That's the only issue here. So if this House agrees to start at clause 20, then the House agrees to start at clause 20. If the House agrees to start from clause 1, then the House agreed to start from clause 1. There shouldn't be an issue, because once we start saying, no, that is what, you send back to the people to their default position. Consensus is very important in politics. We all learn. Yeah? So that's the only issue that is left for us to determine. Where are we starting? So Honorable Nekundi is contributing to say, to try and smoothen people who believe differently, that no, you can still later come back and get a definition in later when we come back to close. That's what you are saying. You are saying the gate is not closed. That's the interpretation that I'm getting. Yes. Yeah, the procedure is not closed. So that's the only issue that is left to us here. But it's important, because if an Honorable Tayele, who's a veteran, is going to continue in arguing those directions. Some of the things that come from Chief Whip, even as party leaders, sometimes we don't agree. But the principle is that It's not just us as an individual, it's a lot of people who came together. We may not agree, but does it hurt? It doesn't hurt. So let's not create an impression that people, we can send our chief whip to meetings, they agree, and then all of a sudden we just throw it. Chief whip are also very busy in our parties. So it is important in conclusion, that's the only issue that we need to determine. Are we starting over? Yes, that's the only question that needs to be put to the House. Are we, you see. Did you get a chance?
No, honorable members, we must respect each other. We need to respect each other. Yes.
Because I do not want Honorable Amupanda to finish his contribution without giving me the clarification that I am seeking for. The issue here is not only one. It's two issues that came out from these discussions. It is not only about us to start from clause 20. They are twofold. Clause 20, we can agree or disagree whether we commence our deliberations from that clause. The other one is how to move in terms of procedures, how to conduct ourselves or move our amendments, and that is the key here. So we cannot deviate from that process of amending. So that is the key. Yes, I want you to also cover that one. And that is where I have my contestation.
I will give Honorable Ampanda the chance, the senior member, and then Minister of Justice, before I conclude, or Prime Minister afterwards.
Okay.
You also.
So,
okay. I'll find you.
Well, I still argue. So, Deputy Chairperson, I'm not going to stay to take long. She's simply asking for me to. Well, the chief whip of the ruling party was representing members of the ruling party at that meeting. So when he went to give feedback, because this is not AR or PDM, it's a meeting of everyone. So this is also equally the decision of your chief whip. So, well, you will be disciplined soon by your chief whip. So the question that how are we going to do our amendments, our understanding, the Deputy Chairperson read it there from the outcome of the meeting, is to say we don't need to be divided anymore, some feeling that they cannot contribute, is that your proposal for amendment can be submitted. Once the House agrees to them, they become a consensus of the House and they will eventually be put on a yellow paper by the mover. That's a compromise and consensus that has been made. So there's no issue there. That's how that matter has been dealt with. So everyone can make their contribution. That's how we are going to proceed, as we understood from the summary. I didn't understand that to be outside the rules, but I said to be guided.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Honorable Ampanda. How long do you still want to talk?
I was concluding and you allowed me. Yes. So that's all what we are simply saying. The issue that is left for determination, do we start from clause 1 or clause 20? Once we deal with that issue, we know what to do as members in line with the consensus that has been reached. There should be no issue.
Thank you very much, Honorable Members. The whole House committee that will agree on this is in session. Honorable Members, the Deputy Chairperson of the whole House committee is ruling on 184, determination of questions by the committee of the whole House. Unless otherwise provided for in the Constitution, all questions in the committee of the whole House must be determined by a majority of votes of members. Can we agree on voting, honorable members, on this subject matter? On this subject matter, whether we move forward and how we will do it. We don't fight, but we have a disagreement. Yes. Can I have two proposals? Anybody that comes here, Minister of Justice, I believe that you are coming with a proposal.
I thought there is now an understanding that we are continuing from 21 moving forward. I thought that was the understanding.
But there is also a procedural matter.
Okay, this if it's agreed to, we'll try.
Okay. speak what?
Yes. Thank you very much, Deputy Chairperson of the Whole House Committee. I'd like to draw your attention to Rule 185, Sub-Rule 2. And I really want to summarize, because I've been listening to members from both sides. I don't think that there's a disagreement on how we go about the amendments. I think Honorable Professor Mpanda has just said there was actually consensus reached on that day. And it was to say the following, and it is actually in line with Rule 185, Sub-Rule 2, which says the chairperson of the whole House may allow any amendment to a clause or the addition of any new clause to a bill if such amendment or addition is relevant to the subject matter of the bill, is pursuant to any instruction, or is otherwise in conformity with these standing rules. First of all, we all agree that any member is allowed to propose amendments. I'm deliberately using propose and not move an amendment. Okay, so we are together. The mover moves amendments, but members can propose an amendment. So I think there is consensus. You come, whether it is, we agree now that it's going to be on a yellow paper, a white paper, you bring your amendment, you table it. It is then when Rule 184 is enforced. Because here it says, unless otherwise provided for in the Constitution, all questions in the committee of the whole House must be determined by a majority of votes of members. So what happens immediately after, the chairperson or the presiding officer says any debate, given that there is a new proposed or there is a proposed amendment, the House is then taken into a debate on those proposed amendments. Only when those amendments or proposed amendments are agreed to can the mover take those proposed amendments and move them as amendments made to the bill, the substantive bill. I think on that we all agree. The only thing that we are not agreeing on is whether we go start at clause 1 or clause 21. But I think Honorable Nekundi provided a solution to that. There is a point where once we are done with the debate, this committee stage, we actually go back to clause 1 and we restart the whole process again. And that is where, for a lack of better word, it's actually the certification of those provisions by this House. We still go back and we start again from clause 1 to the end of the bill. So I think that is a clear solution. It's not, we don't have a reason really to disagree and keep stalling on this bill. Really, Honorable Deputy Chairperson of the whole House, I think if we can just build on that and then we can move forward. Thank you.
The senior member has proved that she's a senior member. And we must appreciate Honorable Nekundi, Honorable Engari, and all senior members that have spoken. Also the others, we must learn from each other. So we agree, Honorable members, that we move from clause 20. I have Ahmad.
Let's not do this, Honorable. You are doing an injustice to the Chief Whips Forum. You agreed, this whole House agreed, that we take a day. We took our time off. We were doing other things. We took our time off for us to consider this matter. You cannot come and cherry pick now what you are going to accept and what you are not going to accept. Otherwise, what would have happened is that Chief Whip's meeting would have taken the whole day, because among how many Chief Whips of us were there, among the 8 or 10 of us who were there, we could have taken the whole day to debate whether we are starting at 1 or 10 or 20. But we didn't do that. We agreed by consensus, just like we did on the first matter, on what to do with the yellow papers. We agreed. And you are accepting that as a House. Now you want to take the second thing that we agreed with, and then you want to subject it to your whims. Honorable Deputy, we cannot allow you to do that. Because what we did was we came to an agreement to say, you, and it wasn't in fact you, it was supposed to be Honorable Katamelo, will come and sit there in that seat on this very day and put that decision to the House. Not for yourself to determine or according to your rules or whatever. Otherwise, we throw away everything that the Chief Whips have agreed upon, and then we start from scratch. We cannot do that.
Thank you very much. I will come to you, Honorable Venani. Honorable members, we don't throw away your energy as chief whips, but it's the whole House committee which is in session that can agree or disagree. So the agreement of the whole House committee is to move from clause 20. We do not want to vote on that. Now, honorable members, it seems that we have a disagreement. And if there are two versions, or there are no two versions, Honorable Venani, senior member. Understanding.
You see, I understand the labor that was put by the Chiefs Whip Forum for them to try to direct the House. But the Chief Whips Forum decisions do not have direct applicability to the House. The House in its own accord decides what it wants to take from the Chief Whips Forum or not. The House...
Honorable Venani, just a moment. Can you please... Honorable members, Honorable Venani is on the floor, and it's to the benefit of all of us. It will benefit this whole House of what Honorable Venani is saying. Honorable Venani, may I ask you to start from where you have started? Okay, you have forgotten. Continue.
No, I'm just saying that there are rules of procedures. This House have a way that it governs itself. Some of the way that it governs itself is through the Chief Whip Forum. The others, it could be party leaders making a consensus on a matter. But after all those groups have met, the House in its totality is the final authority. It's the final authority. Now, on the floor of the House, a consensus was reached. Consensus does not mean we need to vote. Consensus, you can hear where the discussion is going, which side it is going. The ayes or the noes have it. It's not a voting process all the time. So I think we are in agreement that the majority are feeling, let's start from clause 21, move forward. The Chief Whips Forum advised, but the advice is not at this point taken. The House in its... Yes. But it cannot...
Honorable Venani.
You want us to vote?
So, honorable members. Honorable members. Honorable members. Honorable members, the consensus have been reached. In majority, I do not know why the other chief whips are quiet. Because this is a bone of contention of what we have discussed apparently. But as for me, the whole House committee is in session that can make the decisions. We are moving to 20. We are moving from 20. Because how do we undone? As per which rule? Honorable members, just sit a bit, honorable. Wait a bit, honorable. Just sit a bit. Honorable members, is there a need for us to get a day and go through the processes of the whole House committee? Not to come into this dilemma, because it's every time. It's every time, and what I've noticed is, it's the mental health bill that is problematic probably for us. No. Yeah? Clause 1. No. Clause 20 or clause
Yes, 20.
I think let's proceed. Don't allow your more chance.
Honorable Kambala, Honorable Lisasi, we are moving.
No, on what basis? No.
Now the majority says, I only see you. Now if you want to see the majority, then it means we must divide the house. And that's what we don't want. Let's divide the house, honorable members. I put the question. Now, as per the rules, we must be silent. Nobody moves from his chair. Those are the rules. Read the bell 2 times, 2 minutes, close the door. Is it 5? And close the door. No. Bell, no. Close the doors.
Does the House agree to the vote?
They do.
Let's explain what they are voting.
Let me talk still, Glenn. The rule says we must be quiet. Is it 5 minutes? We don't hear inside. Are the doors closed? Honorable members, Honorable Venani, Honorable Ambanda, we have moved over to the process where each one must be on his seat, where we have to be silent and the doors are closed. Now, are we voting, colleagues? No, we are in a process. We are in a process, Honorable. We are in a different process, Honorable. You are a chief whip. You are a chief whip, Honorable. Even though we are in a voting process, let me listen to what he's trying to say. The rules does not allow for that. That's what the majority says. We are in a different process.
Let's explain what we are voting for and then we vote.
Honorable members, we are voting whether we start from clause 1 or we continue from clause 20. Tomorrow, if we come back, we are not going to have this discussion again. The House is divided. Who is for moving from clause 20? We are voting for who's moving from clause 20. No. Read the names. Marore. It's administration that must do that.
Then they must say it, then I read them, and then they must say in favor of discussion, changing.
In favor of. Read the name. Honorable members, in silence. Read the names. Oh. We are just held up by the light, by the mic.
Yes, honorable members,
For those in favor to start with clause 20, I start with AR. Whether they are in favor to start from clause 20. If honorable is not, it's only to say that no. Because I want to start with in alphabetical order.
Honorable, let me do it.
The names.
How must we do it?
Okay.
That's how you did it the other time.
Let me start with the swap. Honorable members, let me start with the swap of party. Honorable Abraham, Honorable Amutenya, Honorable Amutse. That's what I was saying. Yeah. Because we want to have the names at the end of the whole process. That's why I was saying we can just say it and I will get it.
Hello?
Then you say
Let us not be confused. Allow me to do this. Allow me to do this, honorable members.
They said the secretary might violate a rule.
Honorable members, if you can all sit down, then member will just say to start with rule 20 or with rule from clause 1 or from clause 20. Okay. Honorable members, just indicate whether you are supporting to start with clause 1 or with clause 20, right? With AR. Okay, with the swap of party, Honorable Tuliki.
What is the process?
Listen to it.
The only issue why I don't take this paper and continue is because I'm a deputy chair of the whole house. I could have done it easier. Now the secretary who must do that is always giving us problems.
No, the list will be reported at the end, not the number.
It's the secretary who must.
The members are not allowing us because we have to record the names in the minutes.
You must wait, Kampala. You must wait. We are in the process. We shall not adjourn. We will find each other today and move forward tomorrow. Today we will find a solution for this mental health bill and move tomorrow. No, sit down. We are in a different process. You don't agree or you agree?
151. You see, 151. So the
No, the clause you refer to, Honorable.
I'm not saying anything.
Now, can you sit down?
All I'm saying.
The secretary procedure for division.
Yes.
151.
Yes.
5. The secretary must then call out the names of the members standing. And the table clerk must record the vote and the name of each member.
Yes.
Now, I don't know, this process becomes so new on this table.
I agree with you. That's why I agree with you. Because that's what it is. 151. 5. Okay, let us start.
Yeah. Speaker, can you sit down?
Okay.
The members who agree that we must move to vote 20, can you stand up?
Can you give me the floor?
Okay.
Yes, Secretary. Voting.
Okay.
Thank you very much for the opportunity. Honorable Chairperson of the whole House Committee, in terms of Rule 151.5, I'm now going to call out the name of the members standing, and the table clerk is going to record the vote and the name of each member. I am starting with the affirmative repositioning.
They don't agree.
They don't agree. I'm starting with the names of the SWAPO party members. I'm reading the names of the honorable members studying. Yes. Honorable Tuliki Abraham.
Just wait so that I can.
And I'm reading the names of those who are having the voting powers.
Yes.
Honorable Belema Mutenya. Honorable Modestus Amutsa. Honorable Solomon April.
He's not here. Sit down. Continue. Can you sit down? Can you sit down? Honorable members, we all are leaders in our own right.
Honorable Solomon April is not present. It's not here. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying he's not here. Can you listen to the secretary?
Listen. Honorable members. Honorable members.
Honorable. Honorable Solomon April is absent. I know. Listen also. Honorable Modestus Ashipara, present. I see him. Honorable Toby Aupindi, present. Honorable Silka Ausiku, in support. Honorable Dino Balotti, I see him, in support. Honorable Sharonis Bush, in support. Honorable Clementia Kutse, in support. Honorable Indileni Daniel is not present, is not in. Indileni Daniel absent. Honorable Elder Philippe, in support. I'm marking him absent and not in favor. Not in favor. Honorable Elder Philippe, in support. Honorable Emma Kantema, in support. I see you. Honorable Christine Haidaka, I see you. Honorable Warukwa Herunga.
Support too much.
Thank you. Honorable Lucia Ipumbu. Thank you. Honorable Hilma Ita. Thank you. Honorable Lena Ita. In support. Honorable Natangwa Ithete. Honorable Martha Itope. Honorable Justina Jonas. Honorable Sebastian Karupu. Honorable Philippus Katamero is not in, and he doesn't.
He must be.
For you, it's not marked. Honorable Nono Kachingisiwa, I see you. Honorable Derek Klassen. Honorable Balakuta. No, I'm not voting. Honorable Haudesia Kronya, support, and then you take your seat as soon as you are recorded. Honorable John Likando. Honorable Ruth Maseke. Honorable Alexia. Honorable Janari Matundu.
Honorable Maureen Bakela, in support. Dr. Charles Mobita. Yes, he has a voting card.
Yes.
Okay. Yes, the secretary takes the order to hurry up. Honorable Heraya Mukapuri.
Absent.
Okay.
You keep quiet.
Honorable Linda Mwale. Honorable Feni Nanyeni. Honorable Alphonse is not here. Honorable Ebafram Nekongo. Honorable Veiko Nekundi.
She never gets tired. Abstaining.
Honorable Elian Gurare. Honorable Austin Samukwa. Honorable Sophia Shaningwa.
Support.
Honorable, this Honorable Marius Shea is not here. Honorable Pohamba Shifeta. Honorable Ipumbu Shimi.
He's not here.
Honorable Emma Joferus, also not here. Honorable Fanny Chichavi. Honorable James, my apology. Honorable Evelyn Tawasa Stayele. Honorable Royal Uriko. Honorable Pea Mushelenga. Honorable Hedrick Goba. How do you know? Honorable Nico Swamek. Honorable Nico Swamek. Honorable Vice. With you now. Honorable Abrosi Kumba.
There he is standing.
Honorable Festus Thomas is not here. Honorable Almas Amukoto. Honorable Lilian Brickman. Lilian Brickman is also not here. Lilian Brickman. Honorable Lilian Brickman. Honorable Rodney Kurute is not here. Honorable Otilia Halikota.
She's not here. She's not here.
Okay, but how do I know? I can't see everybody. Ferdinand Ngombe, is he here then? Honorable Ferdinand Ngombe.
The one who's kissing you is Ferdinand Ngombe.
Honorable Abnego Hishono. Honorable Vilho Hiemba. Honorable Nelson Kalangula. Honorable Honorable, this Honorable is not here. Honorable Isra Kanyemba, is he here? Isra Kanyemba, yes. Honorable Rodrigue Ricardo, Chief Whip. Honorable Elvis Rizazi. Honorable Lilian Lutuhezi, is he here then? Honorable Lilian Lutuhezi. Honorable Lucia Budi. John Mouton. Honorable John Mouton. Honorable John Lou Mouton. Very good. Honorable Michael Molunga. And then what else?
Next page.
Honorable Michael Mashindanga. Honorable Emmanuel Nashinge. Honorable, this Honorable is not present. Yeah, now some are asking which one. Okay, Honorable Boniface Sisiku. Boniface Sisiku. Honorable David Eku.
He's not here.
Honorable.
PM is not here.
This other Honorable is also not here.
She's LPM, she's not here.
Is also not here. Honorable.
It's LPM, they're not here.
Honorable, and this Honorable is also not here. This Honorable is also not here. Honorable Lognis Ipumbu. Honorable Martin Lukato. Honorable Vetaru Hekandorozu. Honorable Honorable Kovia Hungary. Honorable Rosa Mbinge Cheundo. Honorable Winnie Mongo. Honorable McHenry Venani. Honorable Diaderic Fries. Honorable Matthias Bundu. Honorable Honorable Evaristo Karonda, were you sitting?
Okay, so the next ones we do not agree. Call out the ones who
okay. You call those who don't agree.
Now, honorable members, we move forward. Who do not agree with the decision taken of moving to from clause 20?
What about those of us who abstain?
Okay,
you did not stood.
Let's do the disagree. Who are those?
Who disagree? Who did?
The majority.
I did not listen. I didn't hear what he said. Who wants to start from clause 1? Who wants to move who want us to move back to clause 1? Clause 1. Who abstains? Who abstains? Yes.
Okay, abstain. Honorable Dr. Job Amupanda. Yes. Abstain. Yes. Honorable Esther Haikola.
Yeah.
Honorable Vaino Angula. Honorable Tuafeni Kalola. Honorable Hidipo Kambala. Honorable Sidana. Okay.
Karonda.
Honorable Karonda. Take it easy, please. Honorable Karonda.
He's abstaining. Never.
Okay, Honorable Karonda abstain,
Please correct the records.
Honorable Karonda abstain. Oh, you abstain.
Honorable Karonda.
Honorable Karonda.
It's part of those who abstain.
Okay, you abstain,
So 7 abstain.
Okay, now count those who abstain and those who are in favor.
We are done.
Honorable, we are now tallying the result of the voting. We are quickly tallying, yeah, because it's quite a number, in particular of those who are in favor, and we must properly count it.
All I'm saying is that as leaders we must be exemplary to the ones who look up to us. Now, honorable members, if we come back tomorrow, it's now 5:45. If we come back tomorrow, in favor of 20, clause 20 is 66, and who have abstained is 7. Now, honorable members, as it is 5:45, all of us have heard that tomorrow, if we arrive here, we move from clause 20. No other stories. No other stories. I'm still here tomorrow. I will. Now, honorable Honorable members, how do you say where is the paper? Diana, what you say, so it's report progress. It is progress. Go speak on us. Now, after this process, when the speaker comes, she must listen to you. Or is it part of the whole house? Because we are done with the whole house. Now, honorable members, I shall report progress and ask leave to sit down. Honorable Speaker, I shall report progress and ask for leave to sit down.
Thank you. Now, honorable members, yes, I see the Minister of Finance is asking for the floor. On what point does she want to rise, Minister?
Speaker, I rise on point of privilege.
Okay.
And I do this with all due respect. We start at 2:30. And we discuss and no discussion anyway. We are busy, but there's no impact. But when it comes to the time of going home, we observe that time very strictly. Speaker, Honorable Speaker, seriously, we spend almost 2 hours just deciding whether we are going to vote or not voting. So we have been paid just to be here making funny stories. I so submit.
Very good, thank you. Honorable members, we are after knock-off time. I am not going to agree. Yes, the discretion to give MPs the opportunity to take the floor is with the presiding officer. The presiding officer has exercised that discretion. That doesn't mean that the rule that says we rise at 5:45 is now suspended. It is not. And therefore, the presiding officer rules as follows, that we would rise, and the chief whips are going to comply with the obligation that they have under the rules to ensure that we arrive on time so that we start on time. Honorable members, we rise. No, honorable members, we raise it outside with me.